Welcome to Java. Thank you kindly for joining me. It's May 29th, 2025. It is also Thursday. This morning, we are getting jobless claims prior to the market open. We've got quite a few things that are directing it. Is risk on the environment at this moment? But before we get started with that, I would like to thank everyone that came in the Discord last night. We got waylaid a little bit, but we did do some testing on a new decentralized messaging system. And I'd like to put out special thanks to Sosh and those that are working on that. So with this, we've got a lot of news coming through. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you enjoy the content, and special thanks to those of you that are here every day, comment and support me. Truly appreciate you. So let's get started with what's going on in the markets. We've got greed meter right now, 64, still deep in. So what are the drivers right now? No tariffs for now. Why? United States trade court ruling blocked Trump from imposing the bulk of these tariffs. Now, this is a temporary measure. So just to be sure, there are other ways that it can impose these. And there is already an appeal filed for this. So United States trade court ruling sending the 30-year Treasury yield above 5% by doing this. So what is going on is money coming out of the debt market, dropping bonds, selling off in those, sending the yield higher, and planning to plow the money into equities. So risk on equities and cryptocurrencies. I'll talk more about that in a moment. We've got the 10-year yield 4.52 going up on that debt sell-off. Also, relative strength of the dollar up. So this is positive despite what it's showing right now for the markets. I do this early. But they will go green prior to open at least for a bit. Now I'm already beginning to see a little bit of curling here and weakness. So this could reverse or at least end by the end of the day. Nobody knows for sure, but it's looking a little bit weak. Futures showing there's money plying into these as well. Risk on environment, so at least green on the open, but that could shift. As I was saying, the risk on trade does tend to drop gold and volatility index. Silver is a little bit of an anomaly, gaining some strength here. There is some news that there's a bit of lack of supply thereof, and crude oil is moving on Middle East news. Now, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin back above 108,000. And so this is the tide rising all ships in this sector. Now, I want to mention a couple of other things. The first is there is news of Fannie Mae. They are one of two. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are the two largest mortgage-backed securities that are backed directly by taxpayer dollars from the US federal government. They're partnering with Palantir in order to weed out fraud. Now, I've been talking about this company. They get massive amounts of military contracts, artificial intelligence for them. So now this company, artificial intelligence, is also going to have all of your personal identification information as well as your mortgage information and tied into your financials. So how do you feel about that? We knew this was coming. Now, I want to give a quick word about propaganda blindness. If you're not aware of what this is, you can get this by watching this channel, watching Gregory Mannarino, by reading, educating yourself, and becoming aware of what the truth is, reading between the lines of what mainstream media is going to feed you, which is propaganda. Now, this is very similar to if you shop on the web. You know that advertisements are typically like at the top of a page, or they insert themselves. And many people now, if you ask them, once they scroll past it, what was in the ad, they can't even tell you because now they just block it out. So there's something very similar. Once you see the truth, and they start telling you some of these things, your mind can automatically adjust for this, and you'll begin to see what's happening in the bigger picture. So by educating yourself from multiple venues, don't just take what I say, but watching this from multiple angles, you too can also see beyond what they're feeding you for this propaganda. Now, speaking of, we're about to get in the calendar initial jobless claims from US claims, GDP, and a lot of Fed presidents speaking, as well as pending home sales 10 a.m. So I've got a word about the initial jobless claims. Now, the United States unemployment rate officially is 4.2%. Now, there is also a lesser known, it's called functional unemployment. And this is saying 1 in 4 American adults is effectively having a difficult time in the labor market. And this is either because they are not making enough in a good paying job, they can't keep up with inflation, or they have to have 2 jobs or more in order to keep up with this. So the true rate of this jobless rate, among others that are also not being counted, is really at above 24% at the moment. So, with all of this, we've got traditional Bureau of Labor Statistics data, excluding nearly 6 million people that are working full time, but they live below the poverty level, as well as some discouraged workers who have quit looking. So, this kind of is a blind spot, as they're saying in the consumer sentiment that we're getting some of this from. So, with this, moving on Friday, we've got more news coming out. It's prior to the market open, if you see all of these. So, some critical numbers coming in: PCI, core spending, PCE. These are all numbers that are going to affect what the Fed says. So, looking forward to these prior to the market open tomorrow. Market minutes, couple of news. Elon Musk is leaving DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. He is saying the job was an uphill battle. Absolutely knew it would be. It is, after all, the United States government who are masters of bureaucracy and spending. So getting them to cut, absolutely monstrous task. So his job was timed to time out by the 30th, I believe, which is tomorrow at the latest. Now, a couple of other things related in the news. Tesla's Optimus could be the first humanoid robot to achieve high volume and tech sale. This in accordance to Jensen Huang of NVIDIA. So if they partner with that, that could be something massive. We are going to robotics. We did speak about this a little bit last night. Now, Tesla is not one of the higher rated humanoid robots globally. They are probably number 9 or 10, I believe, on the global scale. However, the fact that they could be high volume and at tech scale would give them a boost. And we also had a smaller note about Telegram announcing a partnership with Musk, saying that they were going to introduce Grok in particular over their partnership. And Musk came out right after and said that's not exactly the case. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, with the joblessness, we've got a massive number of people, not just in America, this is globally, but this is specific to the numbers in America, how to afford retirement as they're heading in this wave. And their answer is to keep working. That is wrong. Could not be further from the truth. That is more propaganda to keep people working and keep people suppressed. And these numbers very sad to me. Nearly 30% of people retiring work into their retirement, and 75% currently working plan to do so as well. They are living on Social Security is the main source of income for more than 40% of seniors in these 10 states are living on $1,949 US dollars average monthly check. With inflation and cost of living allowance, that's below poverty wage, I do believe. So, what is the answer to this? The answer to this is you don't plan on living on your savings. You don't work into retirement. What you do is you purchase assets that give you either dividends or income, and you live off of the dividend or the income, not the asset itself. So this is one of the things that we've got to teach people. Stop looking at this typical, what is taught in the education system, of working until you're dead or living off of the government from cradle to grave, which is Social Security. Both of those are the absolute wrong way to do those. So any comments about that, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I absolutely feel passionate about that. So let's move forward. Fed expects job market to weaken substantially on these tariffs. Yes, but that's not the only catalyst to this. The job market is going to trend lower because we're heading into a recession. So that's not the total story. Again, propaganda. Fed officials see persistent inflation as a threat, even as their staff warn of a recession. This is true. The flip side of this, though, is that the Federal Reserve is the cause of this inflation. It is built into the design. This is not something that they've come across afterwards or a symptom. It is built in to the currency. It is built to inflate. And this is part of what is going to eat away at your savings and why so many people think that they have to continue working into their retirement. You have to beat this game. There's many ways to do it. So Japan's fiscal health suffering as their debt reaches unsustainable levels. Now, why have we got this here? First off, because this is a view into the future for the United States if they don't get hold of their debt. Secondly, because Japan holds also a large amount of United States debt, and they could also throw a spanner into the works of the United States financial system if they choose to do a massive sell-off and protect their own economy. So don't worry about that because there are several deals in the back end that are being made between the two governments, including with the military and including with production, as well as other tech deals that will are kind of built towards allaying this. But just to bring this into your awareness. Now, few other things. This is with Bitcoin. We are moving to a CBDC. And if you're smart, one of the assets you're going to be looking at shifting towards, whether you like it or not, you can choose whether you can go with their system of cryptocurrency of CBDC or you can go to a cryptocurrency. Now, we've had as a country several announcing they're going to Bitcoin as a strategic reserve. We've got also corporations purchasing it. GameStop officially purchased. Now, their stock dropped on this news because this is not a strategy for a business. This is a little bit different. They are acquiring assets. However, it's not a good business design, even though Bitcoin is something they could do. Now, MetaPlanet, which is part of their business, issuing bonds. So they're going into debt to purchase Bitcoin. Now, I also don't advocate for going into debt in order to purchase this. So I think that's bad idea number two. We've got a European crypto firm raising money to purchase Bitcoin. So if this is part of your assets and you're diversifying, that's a win. I think that there should be diversification in a similar fashion. Now we've got Jack Dorsey. He was the original founder of Twitter. Block, which is also Square, bringing Bitcoin payments by 2026. I think this is also a win. Diversification of payments and allowing the adoption of something that has a bit of a global tidal wave going behind it. This is where you want to be. You want to be on the front edge of these assets that are set to gain and set to get adoption. Now, I know many people don't like Bitcoin, and that's okay. Buy gold, buy silver in order to hold your wealth or purchase other assets, real estate, dividend income producing large caps at sale prices or looking forward. So these are all ways you can do this. We've also got Trump Media Group, also DJT, betting big on Bitcoin. They have raised $2.5 billion in cash in order to purchase this. So moving forward, not going away, just a consideration for an asset for you to hold in your portfolio. Now, one last thing I would like to go over, and this is on the flip side of this, we were kind of speaking about this as well. Heading into the kinetic wars, if their plan doesn't go to the plan that they like, they will bring it to war. We've got Merz is from Germany, vowing to block Nord Stream 2. We've got the Kremlin responding to Germany's long-range missile pledge to Ukraine, saying that they are just fine with them using increased strike links, meaning that they can hit directly into Russia. That is similar to saying that it's okay that Russia can strike back at Germany or at the UK. It's too close. Or in the United States, similar to Cuba, very, very close to their capital. So with all of this, we've got the EU putting in $170 billion into what they're saying safe fund for defense. Now, this safe fund scheme stands for Security Action for Europe. And they're raising this because they're saying, in short, that the United States is dropping out, no longer in the defense as far as NATO and other things, because they're trying to reduce their reliance on the United States. So with all of this, defense stocks on the rise, definitely. There's so much going on here. So with all of this, I wish you a great trading day, a wonderful day in general. If you have any questions, please feel free to get in hold of me. You can email me or put it in the comments below. Again, I appreciate all of your support. And until I see you again, my friends, resist.